Well, with colder weather headed our way, it is a perfect time to think about comfort food, and one of the classics is the pot pie. Eyewitness News anchor Anne-Marie Tiernan heads to OAKLEYS Bistro for a unique twist on the old standby and this week's Cook Like a Pro.
We're back in the kitchen today with Chef Steve at OAKLEYS Bistro. Thanks so much for sharing your recipes with us. We appreciate it. So chicken pot pie, so hearty and appealing at this time of year. Here at lunch, you have a salmon pot pie that's very popular, but you're even adding another twist for us today, aren't you?
Oh, we're going to do what everybody loves at the holidays, which is lobster. So we're going to make a lobster pot pie here. And so we're going to start with that. We have some of the ingredients we're going to be using today. We have some shallots, yellow squash, zucchini, tomato, some fresh artichokes, a little bit of cooked sweet potato, butternut squash. The main lobster, we've just pre-cooked it a little bit of braised tomato, basil pesto, a little Dijon mustard, brandy, cream, and some kale. And all these ingredients, you can interchange the vegetables or do it all vegetarian. If you want to leave the lobster out and do shrimp or chicken or even pork or beef, something like that. So feel free to experiment with the flavors that are here and with other ingredients. So we'll start with, we'll get a little bit of olive oil in the pan. I always kind of pull the pan off the heat a little bit just so it doesn't flare up with you. The shallots in the pan, and this is going to go pretty quick. A few of the squash, some of the zucchini, a little bit of the tomato, some of the artichokes, and sweet potatoes, some butternut squash. We're going to just mix this around a little bit. Get a little bit of color is good. Okay. And then we're going to add a little bit of the tomato. And this will give color as well as some depth of flavor. A little bit of basil pesto. If you don't have basil pesto, you can use the sun-dried tomato pesto or something like that. A little bit of mustard. Whole grain mustard is good as well. Some brandy. And then let that mix that up. And then we're going to add our heavy cream. Just enough to cover the vegetables. We want a kind of nice light glaze over the vegetables. And we're going to add our kale.
Oh, that smells good. Is that the brandy?
That's the brandy. Let the kale and let this cook down until it gets a nice consistency. So in the meantime, while the lobster mixture is reducing, we want to get to our puff pastry. And we're going to make these puff pastry rounds. Biggest thing, you want to have the puff pastry nice and cold, almost even out of the freezer is a good point. And to make the tops of the puff pastry, we're just going to push down and cut. Push down and cut. And once again, this is the colder the better for that. So take these rounds. And one other neat trick that we're going to do, we're going to place the puff pastry here. And on the sheet pan or cookie sheet tray, we have little pans that we've done miniature pot pies in. And we're going to use that as the height of the puff pastry. So when this is complete, after baking, they'll rise up to that sheet pan and you'll be left with a consistent piece of puff pastry. And so that's going to be our topping for the lobster pot pie. Okay, now that our mixture has reduced down, we've seasoned it. We're going to take
so good.
the lobster. Okay.
Now the good stuff.
Yep. Now we're going to get all that lobster in as much as you like.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yep,
this smells so good.
Why don't you put a little bit inside of our pan there.
Nice big chunks and sauce too, huh?
Chunks of lobster, all the sweet potato, butternut, some good fall, winter flavors.
Oh, that looks great. Yummy, yummy.
Okay, and how I like to finish the dish, you have the puff pastry on top, nice and crispy. A little bit of the maple syrup, goes great with seafood. A little of the bingo spice. I'm going to put a little bit of this, more of that braised tomato. And then a piece of lobster just to let people know that that's what they're getting, and there's the dish.
I think this pot is so cute, but we don't need to go buy one if we don't have one, do we?
No, we don't. We can use a pie pan, a 9x13 Pyrex pan, anything that's oven proof that can go in and come out without melting. And you can still cut your puff pastry rounds and put them on your dish. That way everybody has their own nice little crunchy puff pastry and then the finished dish. So.
It looks great. Thank you so much, Chef Steve, for sharing your recipe with us today. We have it posted for you online at WTHR.com so you too can cook like a pro.